Hi, my name is Liz Jackson, and today I want to talk to you about my paper called The Relationship Between Belief and Credence that was just published in Philosophy Compass. So first, I want to address the question, what are belief and credence? Belief is a familiar attitude. It's taking something to be the case or regarding it as true. And most epistemologists think there are primarily three belief-like attitudes we can take towards a proposition. We can believe it, we can withhold on it, or we can disbelieve it. So I believe 1 + 1 = 2. I believe it will be sunny tomorrow. I withhold belief that a fair coin will land heads, and I disbelieve that 1 + 1 = 3. But you might also notice, well, I believe 1 + 1 = 2, and I believe it will be sunny tomorrow. But my attitude towards these two propositions, it's not exactly the same, because I take the former to be more probable. So to capture this difference, epistemologists appeal to a second attitude that they call credence. Credences are given a value on the interval from 0 to 1. 1 represents maximal confidence something is true. 0 represents maximal confidence something's false. So I have a credence of 1 or very close to 1, that 1 + 1 = 2, whereas a credence of maybe 0.9, that it will be sunny tomorrow. So we have beliefs, where there's sort of three main attitudes we can take towards a proposition, and credences, where there's potentially even an infinite number of attitudes we could take towards a proposition. And this raises the question, how do belief and credence relate to each other? And my goal in this paper is to explore this question, and I do so in two main categories, descriptive and normative. So first, let's talk about the descriptive questions. The first one is called the Ontological Question, and this question asks, do belief and credence both exist? So I note that there are some people who are belief-eliminitivists. They deny that beliefs exist. There's also people that are Credal-eliminativists. They deny that credences exist. These are both minority views, though. So supposing that belief and credence both exist, this raises a second question, and that's the reduction question, which says, look, belief and credence both exist, but is one more metaphysically fundamental? There's three main views on this question. The first is the Credence-first view. On this view, credence is the fundamental attitude, and belief reduces to credence. There's two primary versions of this view. The first says that belief is maximal credence, or credence 1. And the second says that belief is credence above some threshold. The threshold is usually above 0.5, but less than 1. So you might say, I believe everything I have at least a 0.7 credence in. Or you might have a view on which the threshold changes in different contexts or depending on the stakes. So that's the credence-first view. The second view is the belief-first view. And on the belief-first view, belief is the fundamental attitude, and credence reduces to belief. So the most common version of this view says that credences are probability beliefs. A 0.9 credence, it's raining, just is the belief. The probability that it's raining is 0.9. But the content doesn't have to necessarily be about probabilities. It could involve something else, like epistemic modals, for instance. The third view is what I call dualism. And on this view, belief and credence are equally fundamental. We have both attitudes and neither reduces to the other. And in the paper, I outline various considerations for and against each of these views, and I sort of have a chart that explains how the ontological question and the reduction question interact with each other. So I recommend you check that out. The second thing I talk about in the paper is normative connections between belief and credence. So it's really important that we keep the normative and the descriptive distinct. Remember, we talked about a view on which belief just is credence above some threshold. There's a related normative view, and I call this view the Lockean Thesis. This is a view about rational belief. So notice if you're a dualist, you can't endorse the threshold view because you think that belief and credence don't reduce to each other. But you could endorse the Lockean thesis because that's just a thesis about what makes a belief rational. So the most common version of the Lockean thesis says that you should believe something if you have a rational high credence in that thing. So there's a normative connection between belief and high credence. There's a couple worries for the Lockean thesis. These are the lottery paradox, the statistical evidence cases, and the preface paradox. I don't have time to go into all of these in this video, but you can look in the paper for more details and for some arguments sort of for and against the Lockean thesis. In closing, I hope this overview of the main descriptive and normative connections between belief and credence has been helpful. The relationship between belief and credence is really important for a couple reasons. I think one, it can tell us a lot about the relationship between formal and traditional epistemology. But two, it also has implications for a lot of other debates in epistemology, like disagreement, permissivism, pragmatic encroachment, and others. So I'm going to link to a place where you can download the paper in the show notes below. So feel free to check that out for more detail on all of the above, and thanks for listening.